Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and today I'm going to be talking about Fuller House Season 5, Part 1, or Part A, or however you want to call it. And today I'm just going to, instead of doing like an episode each day or a review each day of each episode, I'm going to be just doing all the episodes combined into this video. So I'll just do the highlights of each episode and just talk about each one. But I think I want to start with some general info about the season. So this is the final season, and it's part 1 out of 2. The next 9 episodes are probably going to come out February or March of next year. Probably March, I'm assuming. I think this season, the it wasn't the drop. It was like it was more of like it was a lot more like family based, I thought, and people getting more deserved storylines than the other seasons. There was like I mean, there wasn't a lot of like it was definitely some more real life scenarios, I'll say, in this season. And I'm just gonna dive into them. So just starting with episode 1. This takes place, I'm not sure how long after the season 1 the season 4 finale, sorry, but Stephanie and Jimmy had their baby, and well, Kimmy delivered it, but it's their baby. So then they brought it home, and then DJ was upset because she wanted to be like the baby's like main caregiver, but instead they brought a doula in, and she was one of those people who very strict and really cared about doing things right. And I mean, Stephanie was like thankful for the doula, but I think she knew that her peers were upset because they weren't getting to take care of the baby that they loved. Um, because also Danny was upset because like he wanted a bigger role in his daughter's life, and now he was a grandfather again. Um, but the baby's name is Danielle Joe Tanner, which is for Danny, and DJ's for Joe, the J for Joe. So Danielle Joe Tanner, and I think it was she named Kimmy the baby's godmother. She put everyone who was important to her and the baby, and put them in like this to put them into the baby's life. And I thought that was really nice of her that she would include mostly everyone. So moving on to episode 2. This episode brought the main season, brought like was pretty good. I think. So first off, DJ and Steve went to a cooking class, and I think this was funny because we haven't seen DJ and Steve explore much things besides like I mean we've seen them go out on dates, but we haven't like seen them like try out different things. Um, so the cooking class was pretty funny because it had other older people going against them. And I think it was fun to see how DJ and Steve worked together as a couple in a way that we haven't seen before. Also, Ramona finally got so her boyfriends have like she hasn't had the best luck with boyfriends. Um and today in episode 2, someone was delivering food, and she thought she was really cute. So then they went out on a date. And Fernanda wasn't fond of this, but Kimmy was like just to him, Ramona can do whatever she wants because she's almost an adult. Um, which makes sense because a really funny part in this episode was when the Ethan guy walked up to the door, and he walked in, and Fernando was like, "Wait a minute, you cannot leave with him." So then Kimmy comes and grabs a broomstick, and Fernando trips over it. And I thought it was really funny to show that Fernando has to accept that his daughter can date different guys. Um, One more of a small storyline in this episode was with Stephanie and Max, aunt to nephew, and it showed that Stephanie was hard. It was hard for Stephanie to keep her promises now that she was a mom, and Max was upset because they were supposed to go to this like wrestling thing, and Max was Max was like really upset, and So Jackson told him to like give Stephanie a break because it's hard for um someone to like a mom to be able to take her other like her relatives to things when you have so much to worry about yourself, especially because Jimmy wasn't there. Um Overall, I liked this second episode. It was starting to sorry, pick up the same drama that season 4 had. So moving on to episode 3. This one this one I thought was really funny because it had DJ telling Steve to take Fernando and Jimmy out to lunch so then they can talk things out because Fernando wasn't acting like himself and Jimmy was always away on the road that Steve wanted to give them some advice. But so they went to a sandwich shop, which I think this has been teased last season, somewhere called Uncle Monty's, but this so-called bro lunch went to them buying the sandwich shop. So I know that was a lot to take in, but just to break it down. So the owner of Uncle Monty's said that he was going to close the store, and the guys loved Uncle Monty's that they couldn't resist to close it down, so they bought the store without talking to their like to everyone else first. So they were upset, but soon Uncle Monty's was they were feeling pretty confident about owning the store. And I think that was an interesting thing to see with all of for people to take on new responsibilities. So the two that was the main thing, and then there were two other slider ones. Max had trouble at he was trying to master his fear of heights, but then he ended up getting embarrassed at the pool. And then so Ramona and Jax were trying to help him while Ramona was also trying to deal with her crush on Ethan because she actually liked a photo of him from like 7 years ago. So she was like trying to get over that with all of her drama going on and this episode the sandwich shop definitely took a big chunk and DJ didn't have a huge role in this episode, but I was fine with that because sometimes it's better to have supporting characters taking the spotlight in some episodes because you can't have the main character in every single episode as like the main person. So moving on to episode 4. This one was definitely more packed. It had a girls' night out with the three of them, plus Gia came along. And we learned something really surprising that Matt and Gia had gotten married. And when they revealed this news to DJ, she seemed like she was happy for them, but still a little bit upset because I know that she doesn't have any more feelings for Matt, but I think that she was still just surprised that Matt did this without telling anyone else. So this girls' night out didn't go as they planned because it turned out they weren't allowed to dance at this Club Euphoria. But then they ended up running into the I don't remember the last name, but Max and Val. I don't remember their last name, but they're like these two famous people. So then they ran into them, and then they had a dance number. Meanwhile, back at home, so Jackson and Rocky, we learned that they didn't. Now this happens a lot that like something happens between them and then one of them never calls. And this is like in real life in a lot of different scenarios. But they hadn't talked any since they broke up, but then Rocky held Jackson's hand at the hospital. They hadn't talked since then. But they got back together at the end of the episode. That was just a minor role because Rocky's big storyline this episode was bonding with her stepdad Matt. And unfortunately, I mean, it was like Rocky wasn't fair to Matt because she wasn't giving him a chance, but then Rocky, her mom has married like a bunch of different guys, and it's hard because they weren't the nicest to her. So I think when she learns that Matt knows that he has to be a dad that Rocky can deserve or a stepdad. So I think that it was important for there to be like a Matt and Rocky storyline this episode so it can show that there's also like that there can be a bond between a father and a daughter when they're not actually related. So I liked that episode. It was pretty fun. Moving on to episode 5. This one had 2 different storylines instead of the 3, some major, some minor. It had to do with DJ trying to bond with Jackson, which we needed ever since we haven't gotten that this season. But last season it showed when Jackson got drunk and they had a talk. But this one DJ thought that she wasn't giving Jackson enough time for them to. So then what happened was is that she decided to start video games, but then it turned out that she was playing against Jackson on a Rocket League. And then she thought that was really embarrassing, and then it turned out they had to meet each other in public for this tournament. So she went there to Jackson and apologized to him, and he was pretty angry. But then they decided to actually play Rocket League together, and I thought that was a good mother son thing, even though I think DJ was going a little bit over the top with all that. But I think if they just had sat down and talked, it would have been better than DJ tricking Jackson into this video game thing. So the second storyline of episode 5 was the sandwich shop. Their grand opening is coming around, and they've been running out of ingredients. So in the middle of their grand opening, they ran out of ingredients, and I mean, they were upset, but then there was like the storyline of like sharing is caring also, because people are willing to share their things. I thought it was like this sandwich shop storyline for episodes 3 and 5 are actually pretty funny, and like they're also like a good example of running a business together with people who you either don't really get along with, or with people who are your family members and you get along with easily. So that was episode 5. Overall, this episode was a little bit more packed. Episode 6. So this episode was a little bit more lame. The storylines were a little bit more lamer, I thought. It had to do with DJ and Matt going to help the mayor's bird. And like it was kind of tough because Matt was scared of it while DJ just wanted to help it. They got into an argument because then they had to like clip the wings off, but then Matt pulled out a gun trying to shoot the bird. And before he could, DJ actually shot Matt in the foot. And then it brought into this really funny storyline with Matt like not being able to like coordinate with himself. But then it also brought something back up from season 3 when DJ and Matt were dating. Because he's like, well, I remember you were in love with Steve the whole time. And I think that was like something good to remember because DJ was, I'm pretty sure, had feelings for Steve the whole time she was with Matt. And then I also showed him like telling the truth to DJ about his relationship with Gia, saying that he's high maintenance. I thought it was cool because Matt had to tell the truth about Gia because he's always acted like he was so in love with her. So I thought that was good for him to tell DJ. Also in this episode, we saw some scenes between Stephanie and Steve, which we haven't seen like at all, but like it showed Jimmy wasn't in this episode, but it showed Stephanie writing a song to her daughter, and it also showed Steve giving her some advice while Jimmy was gone. And I think it showed that someone that you can help out your girlfriend's siblings, or you can just help out their family and give them advice and make them get through the hard times. So I thought that was some cool things. Also, a major part of this episode was Gibbler Game Night, and it was where Ramona and Ethan were roped into Gibbler Game Night, and I know that Gibbler Game Night sounds kind of corny, and it was because Kimmy and Fernando were throwing fits at every time the other won the game. So they were like stomping all around, but then they like forgave each other. But this also had Ramona and Ethan, like Ramona trying to get away with Ethan, but then it was also good because Ethan kind of wanted to build a bond with Ramona's parents. But then it didn't turn out how they expected. Overall, this was it didn't have as much as like the storylines, but I better hurry up so I can get this video done. Okay. Episode 7 was DJ's 40th birthday party, which she should be older than that, but whatever. So it was boys versus girls. And we just had to complete challenges and get back to the house in time. The girls ended up winning, but Stephanie and Kimmy were assumed that Steve was going to propose to DJ, but it didn't end up happening. But overall, it was a good episode for DJ's birthday. A side storyline included Max getting gum in his hair and they had to deal with that. But overall, this was a good episode to show DJ celebrating, even if it didn't go the way that she wanted to. Episode 8 had to do with Kimmy's dates because she wanted to know if Fernando was the man for her. But then she ended up going on a date with Kirk Cameron, which is DJ in real life's brother. And I think it was cool to see that unfold. Meanwhile, I'm sorry if I'm going fast, but I need to get this done. Meanwhile, Ethan and Rocky were acting weird around each other, and it turned out that they were playing D&D together. So they were had to be detectives to figure it out. Episode 9 had to deal with Fernando wanting to marry Kimmy again, and also DJ and Steve got engaged because Steve proposed to her, which is really sweet. And then Kimmy and Fernando are going to get married soon with a triple wedding in the air possibility. And that was season 5. I'm excited for it to return whenever it does. And thanks everyone for watching the Webby Studio. I hope you watch more of my videos, and bye.